Morning everybody, welcome back to the Yorkshire Bike Mechanics YouTube channel. My name's Dave K. I hope you're having a good week and everything's alright where you are. So this question I get asked all the time, and it's from e-bike owners with Bosch motors in them. Now some of you said that my motor's pretty noisy, but I'm not sure whether it's too noisy or not. Please tell me how noisy a motor should be before I should be worried. So this is what this video is all about. So this is a Scott E-Genius 2017, okay? And at that time it had been a really nice bike. Well, it still could be a nice bike, but in 2017 this were the bee's knees, okay? And it wouldn't have been a cheap bike. I reckon probably around about 3,100 at that time. But the question being is that, and I get asked this a lot, is how noisy should my motor be before I should be concerned or worried? And it's always a difficult one to answer really, and how I kind of generally answer it is if you're riding your bike and you think, oh, my motor's a little bit noisy, then that's the time that you think that you should be a little bit concerned, or rather get it sorted out. But just as an example, we've got this bike and it's coming for a full service, but oh dear, this is not in a good condition at all. The bike generally isn't, to be honest, but the motor is even worse. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let you listen to this motor, and if your motor sounds like this, then it needs attention immediately, okay? It could be that it's too far gone, okay? But we couldn't tell that until we actually took it to bits and had a look inside. Generally speaking, if a motor is this noisy, then the chances are you could have water ingress as well, which has potentially caused more damage inside. Damage inside. So let me turn the cranks on this motor and you can have a listen. I'll bring the camera in a little bit closer. And the other thing, I mean, there's lots of things wrong with this bike, but I'm going to take the chain off the front because then we don't get confused with any other noise from the back wheel, which is also knackered as well. But let me take the chain off, and then we can say that this is the motor noise and not anything else. Right, you ready? That is a motor that you should be concerned about, worried about, because it's just not right at all. Now there's actually not much play side to side, to be honest. There's a tiny little bit. You can hear that. Okay, so there's a little bit of play side to side, but it's not as much as I've seen before, but it's that noise. Now if you're riding your bike, your e-bike, and it's making that noise, it's a Bosch motor or a Shimano motor, then that is something that needs urgent attention. So this is a brand new DU7000 from Shimano. It's a warranty replacement to replace one that was sent back ages ago. We've been waiting for this because they've been out of stock. So this came other day, so as next video is to put this back in the original bike. But it gives you an idea how quiet a new motor is. As you can hear, that's pretty silent. It'll probably get a little bit noisier once it's turned on. You generally get that Shimano whine, but it's generally pretty quiet. Compare it to this one. Okay, you can tell the difference. So, what's needed with this motor really is it needs stripping down. It needs taking to bits, it needs overhauling, it needs brand new bearings. And once we've actually stripped it down and had a look inside, then we can see what sort of damage we've potentially got or not got, and see whether we can actually overhaul it or not. I mean, it could be a new motor. It's a Gen 2, and you're looking at potentially 700-ish for a new motor if you need to replace it. So that's that. On top of that, this bike needs loads and loads of work, okay? We get us chain checking tool, so we'll move that cam over. Okay, now this chain checking tool now is at 1mm. So if that slides in there nice and tight, the actual chain is stretched around about 1mm. But I can move that another 1mm on top of the 1mm that it's already stretched. Plus, if we look very carefully, we can actually see these little rollers inside. There's loads and loads of gaps between the rollers. So this chain is absolutely goosed, and it's actually potentially ready for snapping. I'm surprised it's not snapped already. So besides that, we've also we know that we've got to replace the front ring, which we'll replace with a Whipperman front ring, a chain and a cassette. All that on top of the issues that we've got with the motor, okay? So potentially we've got loads and loads of work to do on this bike. Now, I don't want to be disrespectful to the person that owns this bike, but he or she might not have ever been told or even interested in maintaining the bike. All they might want to do is get on the bike, ride it, and if it rides all right and they get back to wherever they want to go, then the bike's great. And they might not actually know how bad this particular bike is, so I don't want to be disrespectful to them. But just for the reference of the video, you can actually see how bad a condition this bike's in. There are other things going on with this bike. The back wheel, the hub on the back wheel is that noisy that it's actually knackered. Let me spin the back wheel. So the other thing that we've got to do with this bike is we need to either replace the back wheel, we need to build a new wheel on a new hub and use this existing rim, because this rear hub is absolutely gone. We've stripped it down, we've looked inside of it, we've looked at the balls and cones inside, and they're black. They're absolutely black. And so they're gone. There's no shininess to them at all. So we need a new hub in this bike. So what can you say? You know, that's what we're here for. We're here to help people to be able to maintain the bikes. We're here to do maintenance on bikes for people. And so, you know, it's just an interesting thing from your point of view to see how much wears on this bike already. And the interesting thing is that e-bikes generally wear a lot more quicker than any other bikes, and I'm sure that you know that already and watching other videos that we've done. So if you're interested in seeing what's inside this motor, how motors are overhauled, then I'll put a link in the description so you can actually see a link to a video on screen as well, so you can go and have a look at those. So I hope this little video has helped you to understand how noisy motors can get and how far you should let them go before you actually do anything about it. If you feel any side-to-side movement on your pedals, then it's time to get stuff done. So, toodle pip.